Welcome back, my dear children. How have you all been? Are you curious to know which story I'm going to tell you today? Well, today's story is about a sage and a jackal. It is also called as the Foolish Sage and the Jackal. Children, have you ever faced a situation wherein your papa or mama gave you a toy which you loved and you loved it so much that you wanted to take it everywhere you went? Did this toy get lost when you had taken it out? Well, today's story is similar to this. Once upon a time, there lived a sage far, far away in a temple. His name was Devasharma. In India, it is a tradition to offer new clothes, food grains, and gifts to a sage or saint when they come to our house. So, this sage had a lot of such gifts given by his disciples. He did not know what to do with these gifts. So, he started selling them for money. In this process, he got a lot of money and became very rich. He used to keep all of this money in a bag. The sage was so greedy and insecure that he did not trust anyone to keep this bag safely. So, he started carrying this bag everywhere he went. One day, a thief by name Ashadabhuti saw this sage carrying the bag everywhere he went. He thinks for himself, why is this sage carrying such a heavy bag every day wherever he goes? Surely, he must have a place to live. Why does he not leave this bag there? Maybe this bag has something very precious, and that is why the sage is protecting it by carrying it everywhere. How can I steal this bag? The sage is so alert and careful all the time. Thinking this, the thief comes up with a plan. He pretends to be the sage's disciple and falls at his feet to seek his blessings. The thief says, "O Holy One, I am so blessed to meet you today. I am very unhappy in life. I have everything I want, but still I can't find my happiness. Could you please accept me as your disciple and show me the right path? You're the only one who can help me." Children, disciple means being an obedient student of a teacher or a guru. Hearing these sweet words, the sage was very pleased. He said, "Get up, my dear child. You have come to the right person for help. I will accept you as my disciple and teach you the way to happiness, but on one condition. You cannot stay with me in the night. The saints are not allowed to stay with anyone in the night. So, you will have to stay in a hut at the entrance of the temple." The thief was very glad at the offer. He agrees to the sage's condition and tells him that he will follow every command from the sage. The sage was convinced and accepts the thief as his disciple. The thief tries to gain the trust of the sage by being with him throughout the day. He tries to make the sage happy by doing all of the sage's work and by helping him. But no matter what he does, the sage never trusted him to hand over the bag. The thief gets disappointed and thinks, "This sage is very careful and he does not trust me no matter what I do. How can I get this bag from him?" The sage does not even leave the bag alone when he is sleeping. Shall I kill the sage and steal the bag and run away? Meanwhile, when he is thinking this, there came a son of another disciple to invite the sage to his house. The disciple says, "O Holy One, please come to my house in my village to perform the sacred thread ceremony for my son." Children, this thread ceremony is also called as Upanayana. This is the celebration where a thread called Janivara or Janu is worn by a Hindu boy when he grows big enough to start his formal education on Hinduism. The sage accepts the invitation and starts his journey for the disciples' village. He takes the thief with him on his journey. On the way, the sage and the thief had to cross a river to reach the village. So, after crossing the river, the sage decides to take bath in the river and thinks of resting for a while, as it was a very long journey. The sage decides to go out for a walk in the nearby town and hence wanted someone to take care of his bag full of money. So he puts this bag into a quilt and hands it to the thief and says, "Dear child, this is a holy quilt of God Shiva. It contains the offerings for God Shiva and hence you need to watch it carefully. Please take care of it until I return." The thief was waiting for this exact moment all these days. He waits until the sage disappears on the street and runs away with the bag, leaving the quilt behind. With great trust on the thief, the sage decides to spend some time by joining a crowd watching the fight between two strong goats. The goats were very strong with their strong horns. They started fighting by head-butting and head-pushing. Usually, during the goats' fight, the goats keep fighting until one of them dominates on the other and wins. So, here the goats were fighting for a very long time and had hurt their heads. The blood was running down from their heads on the ground. A jackal nearby sees this and comes to drink this blood in greed. It was so greedy that it does not notice how strong the goats were, or that the goats were fighting. The sage thinks, "How fool is this jackal to come in between this fight? I am sure it will die." Children, in a normal scenario, a jackal is stronger than a goat. It is very easy for a jackal to kill a goat. But here, there were two strong goats which were already fighting with aggression. So, the jackal was trapped in between this fight of goats and it gets killed, as rightly guessed by the sage. The sage could not stop thinking about the jackal's foolishness as he returned to the place where he had left his bag full of money. The sage was shocked to see the thief missing with his bag. He kept crying in panic, "Oh trickster! Where have you gone? What have you done? I lost everything I had in this world." The sage decided to track the thief and starts following his footsteps. He kept walking until he reached a town. Finally, he gave up searching for the thief as it was getting really dark. The sage decides to spend the night in the town and return back to the temple the next day empty-handed. This finishes today's story, my dear children. So, what did we learn today? We learned that we should be alert all the time under any situation. If we are not aware of the people around us and lose the attention, we will be in serious trouble, just like the jackal was killed in the goat's fight. We also learned that we should know when to trust and when not to trust. Had the sage trusted the people in his temple and kept the bag safely there, locked in his room, then the thief would not even have known about this bag and the money at the first place. Also, the sage should not have trusted the thief to watch on the bag while he was gone. Not only did the sage put his trust on the wrong person, but he also forgot about his surroundings. He was not alert that he was at a new place outside his temple. Hence, children, we should not trust someone until we know who they are. We should be very careful every time we want to trust someone. So, children, did you like today's story? If so, please click on the like button and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video, my dear children. Bye bye.